absolute deviation and the standard deviation is that they give you an idea of how far the data values are from the mean. Let's talk about what I mean by that. Each of the absolute deviations is just the distance between a certain data value and the mean. This row has an absolute deviation of 6, and what this absolute deviation of 6 is showing is that this data value of 60, this person's data value of 60, is 6 away from the mean of 66. What this absolute deviation of 18 is showing is that this person's data value of 84 is 18 away from the mean of 66. And this person's data value of 65 is showing that this person's data value is 1 away from the mean of 66. So each of the absolute deviations is just the distance from a certain data value and the mean. And if you calculate the average or the mean of the absolute deviations to get the mean absolute deviation, what you found is just the mean of all of the distances. So it's really just the mean or the average distance from each data value to the mean. What this mean absolute deviation of 7.2 is saying is that the average distance between each data value and the mean of 66 is 7.2. So the mean absolute deviation literally is the average distance from each data value to the mean. And notice how the standard deviation comes out to a number close to the mean absolute deviation. If we look at the population of 5 people, the mean absolute deviation is 7.2, and the standard deviation is 9.61. So since they come out close to each other, you could say that the mean absolute deviation is the average distance from each data value to the mean, and the standard deviation is a number that's roughly showing the average distance from each data value to the mean. The same thing with a sample. The mean absolute deviation right here is the literal average distance from each number to the mean, because if you take these numbers right here, the absolute deviations, and you average them to get the average of 3, you get the average distance from each data value to the mean. And then if you calculate the standard deviation, you get a number close to the mean absolute deviation. So once again, the mean absolute deviation is the average distance from each data value to the mean, and the standard deviation is a number that roughly shows the average distance from each data value to the mean. So you could say that the mean absolute deviation and the standard deviation both have the advantage of showing the average distance from each data value to the mean.